Good morning everyone and welcome back to my channel and welcome back to Raincoat Plus. When last we left off we made a set of stairs and today we're going to be running up them. I'm still a bit off from, well obviously because this is still the same session. But I seem to be a little bit better now, but we'll see how it goes. Knowing me, as soon as I start speaking, I'm gonna...
Get past security? The only option we know of is Amapao.
True, and that's how we were able to get through security ourselves.
But it's just a toy robot, right? How is it related to the case?
I don't know yet, but since Amapao can get through security, it must be important.
Yeah, as soon as I start speaking, I'm gonna start getting sniffly again. I can already feel it. Ooh.
It's sealed off here, too.
Hey, there's an intercom. Maybe someone will respond if you use it.
No way. Huh? Doctor?
Huh? Wait. What the... Wait! Who are you? Help! Somebody come help me!
Isn't this the footage of when the doctor was attacked?
Yeah, you're right.
Maybe
The
jump.
mystery materialized. Must be related to what the doctor just said. So the question is, who did the doctor say, "Who are you?" to?
He finds a sofa and just sits down.
Well, I'll leave it to you.
Well, it's got to be Amapao then, right?
I don't get how you can keep reading at a time like this.
Let's solve this thing!
It's got to be Amapao.
Oh? At this point in time, you still hadn't borrowed Amapao, yes? Then Amapao itself has an alibi.
Oh.
However weird it may be to talk about a robot having an alibi. And normally, I don't believe anyone would shout out, "Who are you?" to a robot.
Okay, that was an incorrect answer.
Right.
Okay, so it's got to be the culprit then.
I can certainly understand why you'd want to choose that. But wasn't security active at that point?
I can't believe I just made two wrong
I
decisions.
considered all the various possibilities, but I couldn't figure out a way to get past the security. If I'm right, then there is no basis to infer that someone had entered the doctor's lab at this point. Which means you can't say the doctor was directing those words to the culprit.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Wait a second. Wasn't there like a bang when we went through the first zone of the security? Maybe someone landed on top of Amapao.
The trap didn't activate. Does that mean we found the right answer? Huh? So
I
the
guess
right
so.
answer is no one? Why would the doctor say, "Who are you?" if no one was there?
The security was still active at the time, so no one could enter the doctor's lab, right? And that was before I borrowed Amapel. So the only explanation is that no one was there.
Why would he say that if no one was there?
I think if we go there, we'll find the answer.
What? That route's obviously just a side road. Who cares what the old geezer was thinking anyway?
But it looks like this
Shinigami,
is the only
shut
way
up.
we can go. Besides, I am curious about what was going through his mind. It could be an important factor in solving the mystery behind this case.
Still, being forced to take a side route is too much trouble. Makes me wish I was dead.
Wait, let me have a look at the solution keys real quick. Yeah, load capacity of 100 kilograms. So it could hold someone. Tough enough for an elephant to stand on, yeah. So I think, but then... Wait, I think I just cracked the case. I think I just cracked it. Hold on. No, I understand. Okay, so this is my theory here. Okay. So we put Amapal in to the airlock chamber, okay? Someone jumped on top from the hidden vent, okay? And rode it all the way through, okay? Now, you might question why how would they survive the toxic gas? Now, I would answer that by saying they didn't. Okay? They went through it completely unprotected. Okay? So they went through on top of Amapal, and the question is, right, the only thing that I don't know, okay, the only thing that I do not know is, as we got to the door in the high voltage chamber, we saw through the door that Dr. Huesca was already dead. Okay. However, if what I'm saying is true, that the culprit rode along Amapal, that could not possibly have been true. Okay. So, I don't know if the person who rode along Amapal was the culprit, but I know exactly who rode along Amapal. And that is Yako Furio. Yako rode on Amapal, and that's why he died. He didn't get killed by Fink the Slaughter Artist. which makes me think the slaughter artist might be Chief Yako. But again, Dr. Whisker's body was already on the ground when we saw it through the door, and when Yako jumped off of Amapal, that's when Amapal was knocked over. Okay. So I think Yako went in there and intended to kill Dr. Whisker, maybe, but someone else got there first. The question is, how did that first person get in? But I think that's mostly what happened, especially with Yako Furio's death. I think that's Yako's death completely solved now. Did we have a... No. So I think Yako, when he screamed, that's when like the toxic gas got to him, you know? So yeah, I think that's it. But I don't know who killed Dr. Whisker just yet. I'm sorry for the laughter in the background.
So, Master, do you have an idea about what the geezer was thinking?
Not yet, but I think it has to do with why he said, "Who are you?" I think the doctor was putting on an act.
I also thought that.
Really?
The doctor put on an act for a reason, but I have no idea why. We have to figure that out by going down this doctor's motive route.
Oh, we're in the Red Mage area. Hello, Angel, Heaven, Death.
He's here too?
You rats keep scurrying around. Do you really think you'll discover Dr. Weska's motive this way? Good luck with that, morons! He had no motive at all!
Well, he said there's nothing here. Let's head back.
God damn it, Vivia.
We can't do that! If he's trying to block our path, then this route must be important.
Nah, fine.
I'm only here because you maggots piss me off. So, I'm gonna end you here and now!
Wait, what's the photo? That could be Yako in that photo, by the way. I think it'll
Was
be
all
this one.
part of the doctor's plan? He didn't have a plan at all. That exchange on the intercom wasn't an act. There was no reason to put on a show. The doctor
Oh, pardon me.
misunderstood. You probably don't know this. Weska put his soul into his work. The research was going well. The doctor was loyal to Amaterasu.
That's what we're gonna...
There's no way he'd betray us!
oh my god, sorry.
But
This was all part
The doctor's plan? He didn't have a plan at all. That exchange on the intercom wasn't an act. There was no reason to put on a show. The doctor misunderstood. You probably don't know this. Wesker put his soul into his work. The research was going well. The doctor was loyal to Amaterasu.
this is the truth. No! The doctor was planning on betraying Amaterasu Corporation. He was trying to escape Kanai Ward.
Yeah.
He said so in the messages he wrote.
You little...
Yomi's rebuttal?
Oh.
What was that? What was he trying to deny? Why was he covering up the doctor's motives?
It seems that this case.
Oh, this is cool.
involves the
This
inner
area, this
workings
path.
of Amaterasu.
Right. The doctor was going to betray Amaterasu. And whoever he was emailing knew that. So the doctor locked himself in the lab to protect himself from that person.
Perhaps the doctor's act had something to do with that.
Oh.
It's the security gate. Everything's locked up.
Well, time to go back.
Which means this is a complex problem. We have to choose the right door and insert the correct solution key.
This is way more hassle than before. Guess I'll leave it to you, Yuma.
Okay.
As always.
Oh,
Swapping places. Blackout or terrorist bombing. It's not terrorist bombing. This was How, right? How. Swapping places makes sense. Yeah, this one.
Oh, the door actually opened. I knew I could let Yuma handle it.
are you sure you aren't a phantom?
Ooh. You finally get to explore this area. A bit.
So the doctor tried to swap places with someone else to escape from Amaterasu. The notes he left behind in the lab hinted at his plan.
You mean the diagram with the sulfuric acid being poured on someone?
Yeah, he was going to swap places with a corpse, then melt it with acid. He wanted to disfigure it beyond recognition. That's how he planned to fake his own death.
At the very least, it'd buy him enough time to escape Kanai Ward. Or so he thought.
Wow! Melting a corpse with sulfuric acid?
She's in love.
Yay! So cool and grotesque! So who is the substitute supposed to be?
Maybe the hitman. The doctor was under surveillance by Amaterasu, but he was still looking for a chance to escape. When he learned a hitman was after him, he figured his chance had arrived.
That makes sense.
The doctor was hoping to use the security system to kill the hitman and use the body as a decoy.
Now that I think about it, the doctor did seem to be waiting for the hitman to arrive.
Sorry, I sneezed again.
The hitman hasn't arrived yet. When will he show up? Don't tell me this so-called first-rate hitman was captured by peacekeepers.
But the hitman never did show up. That's why the doctor had a sudden change of plans.
And that was the act he put on by asking you, who are you?
Perhaps that was a trap to lure you in, Yuma.
He was trying to lure Master?
He considered taking advantage of the detectives, since the hitman never showed up. So if he called for help, he would charge into the lab, not knowing anything about the security system, and thereby acquire the corpse he needed as his decoy.
That seems overly complicated. Like those guys who overthink asking girls out.
Well, he couldn't have used another researcher. Someone would have noticed their absence. He needed visitors, people from outside to pull it off.
Yeah, that makes sense. The way Vivia runs is kind of funny.
So if I didn't know about the security and had rushed into the lab...
You'd be a super sexy skeleton right now. Aw, so close.
You want that?
But the doctor's plan failed, and he actually got boom killed by the hitman. I get what he was trying to do, but what about the impossible murder?
Assuming the attack on the doctor was just an act when we saw him through the intercom, we at least know for sure the real attack hadn't happened yet.
In other words, the culprit entered the lab after that exchange. So the problem is, when did they actually enter?
Because when Amapal was knocked over, Dr. Weisker's body was very clearly in sight. Right? So...
Where are we?
what the hell is this?
This place is a real mystery. Then again, I suppose that checks out.
Huh? Shinigami?
Yeah! Master, this looks like an important turning point! So, is that your final answer?
I haven't said anything yet!
Master, you need to narrow down the timing for when the culprit got inside.
It's got to be before, because Dr. Weisker's body was already dead when we got in.
Road. It's life or death! We are at the crossroads of mystery and solution! This earth-shattering choice may be your last. Now, Master, which one will you choose?
Corporate into the lab before Amapal? Yes.
When I directed Amapal to go into the doctor's lab, he already had a knife stuck in him. Which means he was murdered before Amapal entered the doctor's lab.
Your answer? Is correct!
Yay!
Congratulations, Master! Would you like to double down?
Yes.
What are you talking about? Anyway, let's keep going.
What was with that scene, dude? Why is it so weird like that?
Little by little, we're narrowing down when the culprit entered.
Yeah, but we still don't know how yet. It had to be between when we spoke to the doctor over the intercom and when Amapal entered his lab. During that time, the culprit entered the doctor's lab and murdered him.
So the most likely time would be when you went to borrow Amapal, Master.
Okay,
The culprit had to have entered the lab then.
But Fubuki waited at the front chamber while Desuhiko and I went to borrow Amapal. She said no one entered or left the lab.
wait. There was a time... Right, so when we were pushing the button to open up the door, the culprit could have gotten off Amapal then and went through the door and killed Dr. Wesker in that small amount of time. So potentially it could be Yako. It could still be Yako. I think Yako's Fink the Slaughter Artist. Oh no, not another one. Oh, okay.
Huh? We're back on the original path.
Maybe you're supposed to try opening that door now.
I'm sure that from here on out, it's not just about when, but also how the culprit got in. Yuma, there's no need to push yourself if things get too hard.
No, I can do it. I'm going to solve it.
Where was the culprit before the crime?
This is a map of the critical lab.
So we have to determine where the culprit was before the murder.
We'll have to solve them one at a time. Let's start with this mystery.
If we know where the culprit was before they got in, this route will be clear too. Do you know where, Yuma?
I think I know. Here.
Here.
Oh my goodness.
Must have been here.
Oh, I'm dying over here. I might have to stop the session sooner than expected.
Yay! It opened!
After the exchange on the intercom, given there was always a detective at the front chamber, when we went to borrow Amapal, the culprit had to have already made their way inside. But the airlock is the only location that isn't affected by the security system. There. The culprit had to be inside that decontamination device before committing the crime.
Yeah.
By the way,
Yeah.
Okay, in we go.
but I thought he was just hiding in there to avoid being spotted after the crime. So you think the culprit was in there before the crime too?
Yeah, the culprit was waiting for their chance. But we had no idea when we sent Amapal into the airlock.
And from there, Yuma, you guided Amapal to the doctor's lab. So the culprit entered the doctor's lab before then? How would that be possible? Only Amapal could get past security, right?
Yeah, that's the next big question.
Maybe the culprit used another Amapal unit.
No, The researcher mentioned there was only one functioning Amapel.
Which means the Amapal Yuma controlled was the only one that could get past security.
So the culprit must have taken advantage of Master's Amapal to get into the doctor's lab.
Yeah, that's the only way. But how did they use it? There's no solving the doctor's murder until we figure that out.
Well, I have an idea. Will you hear me out?
What is it?
How about giving up? I'm getting tired.
Nope, motion denied. Another fork in the road? Such a complicated mystery labyrinth.
Beyond each problem lies the truth. We're definitely getting closer to the heart of this mystery.
I would say neither here. He used it as a transport.
Then
But we'll have to pick that next time because I'm pretty ill right now, and I honestly I feel like I can't really continue very easily, so I'm gonna stop here. I know 2 episodes in this session, not very good, but it is what it is. Anyway, thank you for watching. If you stay to the end, thank you so much. I apologise for my illness. I will endeavour to get better soon, and hopefully next session we can finish this mystery labyrinth. But yeah, I look forward to seeing you next time, and I'll see you later. Good night.